certification. There are different things with the Marketo certification. As you know, there's kind of like a kind of entry one, and then there's kind of the certified professional, and then there's kind of the solutions architect version of it. So there's 3 different ways to do that. So if you need to renew those are ways to do it. They actually have a lot more trainings online these days to kind of get yourself up to speed from that standpoint. If it's important to you, go ahead. Also, I don't know if it's on the Alex side, but the champion applications are now open for Marketo. Are they for analytics as well? So everything's open for both sides, the analytics and the Marketo, and all champions for all Adobe products. The deadline is June 7th. So the application's there. So feel free to go online if you want to do that. If you want to get some more details of what's happened this past year, talk to Max afterwards. He can kind of give you all the lowdown on what's going on for the last year or so. I can tell you what happened 4 years ago or 5 years ago it's been, but it's changed since then from that standpoint. All right, now for those of you that have not yet, and this goes for our analytics people as well, we actually have a local Slack for the Salt Lake MOPS area or operations pieces of the puzzle. So feel free to join. You can take a snapshot, QR code it, take the bit.ly code. Let me get out of the way. But anyway, so we actually, we just share some stuff here with this kind of a local Slack. Obviously, there's the big national ones out there for that standpoint, but figured, hey, you just kind of keep some things in the family here, and feel free to join. We have people from HubSpot, Marketing Cloud, Eloqua. I don't know any Pardot people around on the channel with us, but Marketo. But anyways, all those for that standpoint, salespeople, RevOps folks. So feel free to join and participate along those lines. All right, so now we're going to get into this better together. So we're going to talk about that kind of the agenda items that we talked about. And if you hit the next slide, we have a slew. There we go. We have a slew of presenters today. Max Garrett, who's going to be talking to us first, who's our current Marketo champion. Jennifer Dungan, who's the analytics champion that's online. And then we'll hear from Parley and Aaron from Adobe. Up here, wave your hands. From that standpoint, and then Sam and Sam, no Nate.
Nate's here.
And maybe Nate from that standpoint. If not, it would be the Sam show from that standpoint. So what we'll do, we'll just kind of take it from here and go from that standpoint. So, Max, do you need your laptop to plug in, or?
Are we doing analytics first, or?
Oh, I don't have his slides. Do you want to do analytics first? It's up to, I mean, either way. Because I didn't give you a chance. I didn't get a chance to download yours, Max.
Yeah, Jen.
Stop sharing and let her take over.
Yep, I can take over. So do you want to stop sharing your screen? I'll share mine.
Let's see.
1 second, Jen.
I don't see where it says that on here. Let's see. Having a meeting on here. I think we're running from the room.
Yeah.
Okay, can I share mine now? Are you ready for me?
I think yes.
Yes, let's go for it, Jen.
See if she can actually take over.
Yeah, maybe.
You'll see if I
Is that
can actually
yours?
take over. That sounded confident.
There we go. I think we're good.
All right. Okay, so hopefully everyone can hear me, both virtually and in person.
Are you sharing your slides right now?
I
Jen?
am. Welcome
Okay,
to Adobe Analytics 101.
We don't see any. Oh, there it is. Okay.
There it is. Okay. Yay, we have it here. So sadly, I can't be there in person with the other presenters. So today I will be here via virtual presence. All right, so we're just going to do a quick overview. And I am going to keep this at very high level. So it's like the 25-cent lesson. What is Adobe Analytics? Aligning to marketing needs, aligning with all stakeholder needs, missed opportunities, data quality, and then some final thoughts. So let's dive right in. So Adobe Analytics in a clamshell. It is a web analytics platform. And basically, we can track what pages people are viewing and what they're interacting with, how they're navigating through the site, and where did they come from. who are they? Now, keep in mind, we're not going down to the nitty gritty. It's Sam, it's Justin, it's whoever. These are more like high level items, because we have to take privacy and security into consideration. It's more about generically who people are, not so much the specifics. And when did they visit, and when was their last visit? So information about, their visit patterns, and potentially why are they coming to the site today? And it's more than just simple reporting. It uses attribution and predictive modeling to help make business decisions. So first off, aligning with the marketing masterminds. Well, for example, marketers want the world, but sometimes don't know exactly what or how to ask for it. And they also don't always understand how what they do can impact the rest of the organization. And by working together, we can help bridge this gap, showing how simple changes to a campaign can benefit them as well as the entire organization. And I bring this up because some stuff that a lot of Adobe Analytics people have to deal with is, the difference between poor campaign parameters and good ones. Most marketers know that this is really important, but they don't really understand how little changes can make pulling attribution a breeze or lead to hours of effort for an analyst to pull out. Inconsistent or incomplete data can make or break how reporting is done. So obviously, we want to work together to make sure that everyone is aligned. And when we talk about alignment, we have an army of stakeholders, that we have to deal with. While marketing is certainly a major stakeholder, they're not the only ones. And analysts have to answer to many people. So we have to ensure that our overall analytics coverage is consistent, that we can look at the big picture of what everyone's doing and make sense of it. And also we have to work to find solutions that fit everyone while still addressing the individual needs. And with so many people to answer to, if everyone is doing their own thing, it can be almost impossible to pull meaningful data. So it's vital to ensure that the overall analytics coverage is consistent and is pulling out exactly what we need. And what happens when we have unknown, missing, or inaccurate data? Well, unfortunately, nothing is worse than trying to pull a report for someone and finding out that it can't be done properly. Whether it's improper requirements or changes in direction that weren't clearly communicated, or a feature or campaign was launched without any analytics, or a feature or campaign that was launched but without correct analytics, resulting in it being recorded as something else. Trying to split out data can be almost as hard as trying to deal with something with no data. So again, we have to look at it from all perspectives. And of course, every ingredient tells a story. It isn't about quantity, but rather the quality of the data. But of course, as analysts, we ideally want a lot of quality data to fill our needs. So yes, we want it all. Basically, we want to follow best practices, as well as we want to collect the data with integrity. So we want to keep security and privacy concerns in mind. And we want to make sure we have clear goals when we go about tracking. So we know exactly what we are leading towards. We have to make sure that our data is kept meaningful and accurate, and we have to ensure that it is consistent and structured. And this should be really easy for everyone to remember because it spells out a really nice acronym, Krabby Patty. Wait, hang on. Big Macs. Never mind, that sounds totally fake, but I'm sure you'll all figure it out. So now putting it all together, everything that we've just talked about, let's look at the Adobe Workspace. This is the Krabby Patty secret recipe. Using data that has been collected allows analysts to create a vast array of visualizations and arrange them to fit the needs of the audience. Using standard and customized calculated metrics, along with complex segments that can drill down to deep level data filtering, we can fulfill most business needs. Workspace is also a very easy UI to learn, so reports can be created quickly by both analysts and business users alike. And although complex reports are still probably best left in the hands of the analysts, as you get more familiar with it, you can, of course, learn towards bigger and greater things. Interactive dropdowns can even be applied at the panel level to allow users to see the same base report filter to subsets of data, allowing for smaller reports and less repetition of similar visuals. And basically, the same report structure can be filtered to show the exact subset of data that is needed. And for complex use cases, multiple dropdowns can be used to create any subset of data filtering, allowing for some of the same reports to be used for multiple business stakeholders, since they can drill down to the specific subset of data that they need. And just to reiterate from before, consistent and structured data makes creating these segments possible. Everything has to work together for this to be efficient. And so, a few minutes later, while this short presentation won't be enough to make you an expert in Adobe Analytics, it should help give context into this tool. So why we collect as much data as we do, the importance of a well-rounded implementation, how and why analysts try to meet the requirements asked, as well as why we try to go above and beyond those to anticipate the potential needs. And hopefully, for those of you not familiar with analytics, this will provide you with ideas about how to work with the analytics team to make a successful collaboration. And with that, I'm going to kick this back over to our hosts, and we're going to turn this session into high gear with Marketo and analytics together. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Jen. Your slides are always so creative and so awesome. Let's see, we're going to turn it over now to our Marketo champion, Max Garrett. So.
Sweet. All right, mine is not nearly as fun as Jen's. Thank you from my account manager. This is actually the pitch deck for Marketo, redacted to what's applicable to us. I'm Max Garrett. I'm our local Marketo champion. If you have any questions about Marketo afterwards, I'm happy to chat. By raise of hands, how many people are familiar with what Marketo is? How many? Okay, cool. Anybody online? Any hands raised? Cool. I don't have to do the initial spiel. So, in a nutshell, Marketo is a hub for marketing automation. How many of your teams just use it for email, or you know it as that email tool? Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg for Marketo. It has so many other features and capabilities to it, allowing for cross-channel execution, orchestration for all different stages of the funnel. The 5 key pillars for Marketo as far as its features go are for content personalization, omni-channel engagement, intelligent automation, sales and intelligence and automation, and then marketing impact and analysis. Yes, Marketo does have some analytics tools in it, so I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. It has its own set of features that work really well with Adobe Analytics. All right, so the first part of Marketo, I'm just going to go through a bunch of the features. This is a high-level overview and not limited to the features. There are more in there, but is the elite and account database. Marketo is a database system. It has its own marketing database. It does synchronize with several different CRMs out there, including Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, and Vivo. You can also do custom integrations. it will synchronize into the Marketo database, and you are able to action based off of what's in that database. Custom data objects and fields. This includes Salesforce custom objects as well as Marketo custom objects, as well as custom activities. So what I mean by a custom activity is if you have a checkout on your website, you can include that in your activity data in Marketo. You can include survey data from SurveyMonkey in there in several different items that can then be extracted and used in your analytics platforms as well. Salesforce, I'm sure you've all heard of Salesforce or have been the recipients of a headache from Salesforce as well. It does have a native integration with it, and it does not affect your API calls. There's real-time bidirectional syncing for both Marketo and Salesforce so that you can stay aligned with your sales teams. Audience segmentation and targeting. I'm sure that you've all had to build a segmentation. If you haven't, segmentation is a pre-filtered list that you can use in other features of Marketo, such as personalizing content or dynamic content. And then obviously email marketing. We make a few emails. Dynamic content. So this is a way that you can personalize your emails. One email can have several different iterations based off of the segmentation that you are building within that email to further personalize based off of buying groups or different audiences that you've established. With that, you also have advanced personalization. Marketo does allow the use of velocity scripting in its emails. So if you need to pull in receipt information or do some sort of formula calculation, you can do it through a token and velocity scripting. You can also pull lead scoring data, text data, and a couple different options there, but it does allow for several different ways to personalize that way. Landing pages and forms. If you use AEM, this is not meant to step on your toes, but as a complement for it, if you need to stand up a quick landing page, this is an excellent option. You have the ability to do freeform landing pages as well as guided landing pages that are all built out in a template. You can embed forms right into them, making your marketing and sales teams very agile and quick to respond to needs. Campaign and journey automation. This is the gears that makes Marketo run. This is all of the smart campaigns and flow steps. This allows you to trigger based off of certain actions, batch certain programs. This is what sends out all of your emails. You can do lead qualification, lead scoring, as well as sending alerts and calling webhooks for different flow steps in and out of Marketo. Scoring routing, stay in alignment with your sales team by scoring based off of activity and attribution or attribute information. You can create a matrix and then send sales teams alerts when somebody has qualified. It does allow for both of those and is highly flexible. Event and webinar marketing. So not only does Marketo connect with several different webinar platforms and event platforms out there, it does also have a native integration with interactive webinars. So if you have ever used Adobe Connect in the past, and that is now built into Marketo so that you can build interactive webinars right in your event programs within Marketo. All that information for registrations, attendance is now baked within Marketo that you can extract for your analytics and build a greater profile for your customers. And then dynamic chat. This is Adobe's chat feature. There is a base model and then the premium that does allow for integrations with certain AI models. So if you are looking to integrate a chatbot onto your site, this is a great option if you are using Marketo. You can set up the filtering here to only appear on certain pages at certain times or with certain criteria. So it's not an all or nothing. It does allow for complex filtering for those to appear. You can now also have different types of chats and flows based off of the pages that they are receiving. And then taking that data, you can route it to your sales team. You can carry on the conversation. You can have them schedule a meeting with your sales teams as well. Advertising, you can sync your audience data with different ad platforms out there, so you can create lookalike audience. You can do retargeting, excuse me, and work with your paid media teams to synchronize everything that's going on in Marketo with how you're bidding and working with paid media. Social marketing. If you are running any sweepstakes or any sort of social fills, Marketo does allow for options and contests to be run through its platform as well. And then for the analytics people, campaign reporting and insights. Marketo does allow for advanced analytics when it comes to campaigns on the individual and the larger scale. So you can go into Marketo directly to see what's working, what's not, different attribution models. As far as your ROI metrics, you can pull those as well. Attribution and ROI, Marketo Measure is a premium feature with Marketo that does help you not only with your first touch, last touch, but you can include your multi-touch attribution. All right. And then advanced analytics, like I was talking about, you can drill down into what campaigns are really working. You can share your audience information and you can break things down into different partitions. So if you have a B2C side and a B2B side, they both work with Marketo. And so you can filter out information that way for reporting. Sales Insight is an essential tool for your sales teams working out of Salesforce to know what's going on in Marketo. This allows the marketing teams to send interesting moments over, to allow the sales team to send marketing emails out to their clients using this tool, all with the transparency so that both teams stay informed of what each other are doing. And that's all I have. Hopefully there's not any questions and nobody's fallen asleep, so thank you.
We on?
Yeah.
All right. Always setting that up. It's so great to be with you today. Use the mic. And Max, that was awesome. Did he go out? Oh, there he is. I look forward to getting to know you better as the Marketo champion. And Jen, that was great. If you can still hear us, thank you for that overview. It was great. So I'm Parley Davis. You'll get to know this guy here in just a second. And I am a CSM, a solution CSM here at Adobe. My responsibility is to help individuals and organizations realize more value as they work within Adobe. And it's a little bit of a different model that I've been used to over the many years, right, Aaron? Yep. Where we get to work with a lot of different companies now for a shorter period of time. And it's been pretty rewarding. We go in and we identify areas like best practices, roadmap information, some light integration knowledge, just things like that. Perhaps even understanding what a key business objective is and how important that is for companies to share that information, or rather departments to share that information and helping them to be aligned together. So it's pretty rewarding. We love it. I live in Sandy. So Trevor, I think I was 14 miles, not, what do you say, 71? So I got him beat by that a little bit for sure. That's right. We want to share with you today a couple of things about Marketo and analytics. Aaron and I are going to kind of tag team here and make sure that your time is well used. My dive into this, you want me to follow along here? You do that? And I'll use, you can kind of follow along and help me. I'll use this. So I'm hoping, again, that we can get to know you better. And I wanted to mention one more thing. There aren't a lot of parlays out there. So I would love it if you would find me on LinkedIn or find me after, and I'll share my email address. We should have put our stuff up there on our
Yeah,
deal.
we should.
We're glad to be here with you.
Yep.
Want to say hello?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? My name is Aaron Miller. I am CSM. I've been here at Adobe for almost 16 years. And I work mostly with analytics and CJA and a couple of other solutions on the data and insights team. I'm based here in Lehi. I live here in Lehi. I was probably 4 miles from here. But anyway, happy to be here today. I remember when we used to meet as an analytics group here at Adobe 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and we did that pretty consistently. Haven't done it since then. And so hopefully we can get that going again. And this feels really good. It's
Right.
good to be here with everybody.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to talk about one of the compelling reasons that you would listen to us for a little bit, and that is why the Adobe stack and what's good about the Adobe stack, and then trying to get more value out of it. Obviously, we push and we talk a lot about the integrations that Adobe has, and our solutions do integrate, and it adds the ability for you guys to realize more power, or for your clients to find more power and more value there. And Marketo and analytics is no different. There is obviously an integration there. It's pretty powerful. We bring two great solutions together, and you could do great things with them. Jen and Max hit on some of those, and they have the ability perhaps to go into some more technical depth in that. But our purpose today is to help you perhaps have some language or some thoughts around how you can make your integrations work better, or even starting to talk about those opportunities within your organizations or the clients that you work with. So it's common, I think Jen might have been the one that mentioned this the most, but it's common to have your analysts within a company and your marketing people be on separate floors and do their own kind of thing. The analysts are off looking for ways to find out behavior, right, about segments of people, and they get all excited about that. And then you have your marketing people thinking about how are we going to get those people excited and act and move. But how often do we get them together, and how often do they talk? This is an opportunity perhaps for you to lead out in that area and bring some people together, because there's value behind them getting together, right? And being able to bring more value to your company or to your clients' companies. So I didn't, go ahead.
How many of you do work with your counterparts? So if you're on the Marketo
That's a
side,
great question.
how many of you do work sometimes with the analytics side and vice versa? Okay, we got some.
Yeah, I think that's important. And we all kind of know that, but do we sit back and see, are we a catalyst, or are we somebody that's helping to perhaps bring people together and talk about, what else is there? What else can we do that would help, companies be better? So we have some slides here that are quite high level in reality, but maybe enough for some of you that just need that to start talking about it, start to realize what Marketo to analytics and what analytics to Marketo can look like. So let's go to the next slide here. Yeah, there we go. So this is analytics to Marketo. And as you know, running analytics, you get all sorts of interesting information. The customer journey information comes in and it's being discovered. And then analytics segments of people doing just really interesting things, right? Like Jen mentioned, in particular ways that are important are being captured. And then through Experience Cloud, all that intelligence can go to Marketo. And if we're not doing that, I'm hoping that we start to think about how can we make that happen, and starting to talk about getting with Adobe or getting with a partner. Some of them are here to make sure that could happen. So the next one is integration from Marketo to analytics. And that is a native integration, and it requires Audience Manager. And I don't know if you all knew that, but that is one of the requirements. And here Marketo shares audiences to Audience Manager, and Audience Manager has the analytics destinations feature, allowing for syncing of the signals to analytics. So on a very high level, that's it, right? And it just opens up a lot more power. Oops, Adam keeps telling me to put this up here. So our engineers here at Adobe have made it possible to conduct or do these integrations without a whole lot of heavy lifting. The level of difficulty isn't severe typically, unless of course you go to, you have the next slide up there. Yeah, there you go. Unless you get into customized integrations, and then it can be a little more challenging, or if you do APIs and start to integrate that kind of stuff, of course, that'll be more challenging. But again, we can help. People in this room can help. Adobe can help to try and find solutions that'll work for you. These slides that Aaron and I have, and I think the rest, right, will be available to you. We have a couple of slides in the appendix, and then you can dive in a little deeper into this slide as well, where it has the Adobe notes, the Marketo notes, level of difficulty, some of the methods behind the integrations, where you can start to look at that and see if it makes sense for your organization. So I think that covers the integration to the level I was hoping to share with you, knowing that there's likely some of you that will have some deeper questions, and we'd be happy to help you with that. Again, the idea behind it is kind of supercharging your programs and having the ability, when you have that data from analytics in the Marketo platform, that you could do a lot more all around and identify and bring in more customers.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Barley. I'm going to talk to you guys a little, excuse me, a little bit about capabilities and benefits of Marketo analytics integrations. Customer insights would be the first capability, which allows you to track known users from Marketo in analytics to discover new opportunities and improve marketing strategy. The second capability would be targeting and segmentation, which gives you the ability to enable enriched information on customer profiles for sales outreach and to nurture leads down to the sales funnel. And then the third capability is personalization efficiency, which allows you to decrease the time and effort it takes to reach customers with personalized experiences and outreach based on their web behavior. And then I'll talk about the benefits of the integration. The first one is analytics allows you to measure the performance of your Marketo marketing initiatives across solutions. The integration offers a unified view of customer interactions. This allows businesses to gain deeper insights into customer behavior, preferences, and purchase patterns. The second, or I'm sorry, as part of that first one, by combining data from both platforms, you can understand how customers engage with your website, emails, and other marketing channels. This holistic view helps optimize marketing strategies and improve customer experiences. The second benefit is past segment qualification from analytics to Marketo, resulting in lists that can be used for nurture programs and advanced journeys in Marketo, like time spent, click events, logins, content consumption, lead conversion rates, etc. And then the third benefit that we have is utilizing the full Adobe stack for more streamlined experience optimization. So for example, Marketo to analytics to target serving content via AEM, which can help provide a more cohesive and consistent customer experience. The next benefit, number 4, easily tie increased marketing performance back to ROI and have a clear view of business impact from Adobe Analytics. Number 5, optimizations in personalization and journey orchestration can be easily quantified and measured against KPIs to determine ROI against analytics. 6, by using the power of other Adobe solutions, you will realize incremental value from an integrated Adobe stack, thus increasing adoption and value. And then 7, behavioral reports. Create behavior reports in Adobe Analytics based on organization, industry, and RTP, which is real-time personalization, segment data. Flow reports visualize the path visitors take from one page or event to the next. These insights help identify engaging content and improve user experiences. Next, campaign performance tracking. View RTP campaign impressions and conversions directly within Adobe Analytics. Custom link reports show impressions and conversions for specific RTP segments and campaigns. This visibility helps measure the effectiveness of your marketing efforts. And then finally, B2B customer attributes enrichment. The B2B customer attributes integration enriches Adobe Analytics user profiles with metadata from Marketo Measures attribution engine. Valuable data derived from Marketo Measure and CRM Sync, which would be Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce, enhances customer profiles. In summary, integrating Adobe Analytics and Adobe Marketo enables data-driven decision-making and a deeper understanding of customer behavior. Businesses can leverage these insights to optimize their marketing strategy and drive better results.
Awesome. Now we're going to get into the good stuff now. We're going to talk about use cases. So Aaron shared those benefits. Why in the world would you do it? There's a bunch of them. Thanks, Aaron. And then Sam and a colleague or yeah, excellent. Thank you. It's going to come up here and we're going to talk about what it really looks like. What and how does that manifest itself when you're actually in day-to-day work?
Okay, so we'll keep moving along with a couple of use cases. So I've got Nate, my colleague, and I, and so we'll just run through 2. Yeah, Parley and Aaron, they did a good job talking about kind of high level, like what you can do. So let's just jump into the platforms and let's look at 2 use cases. The first one is send Adobe Analytics segments into a Marketo list. And Parley had some screenshots, so let's just try to do a live demo here. Hopefully I didn't get auto logged out of Adobe Analytics and Marketo. Here we go.
Live demos will probably happen.
While he's bringing that up, I will share the use case. So any of you have a phone here today?
No.
Okay, well, we work with a company that makes those chips for that phone. And what they wanted to do was really understand better some of their customer behavior of different segments of their customers, right? Some of these teams are actual developers who go to the web pages to try to find information, right? Are you ready to go, Sam?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, you go. I'll continue this story in a minute.
Okay. All right, so this is Adobe Analytics, and you can see here in the Components tab, in the dropdown, you'll see segments. And so these are segments of visitors to the website. And I created this one for today's demo. It's called AA to Google Ads, visitors who spent greater than 30 seconds on the site. So we sell integrations at Data Join, and I want to know people who are interested in this particular integration. And I'm going to I think that they are interested if they spend more than 30 seconds. And so this is the segment builder. And it's nice because in the upper right-hand corner, like if I just take this out, it'll show kind of the total amount of visitors on the website for the last 90 days. And then I can start pulling in different criteria. So I want every visitor who, whose page equals this one. This is our product page for our Adobe Analytics to Google Ads integration. So that cut that down to 48. And then time spent. That's one of the powerful dimensions here in Adobe Analytics, is that you can get the time spent on page and use that as a filter. And so let's just get everyone who spent greater than or equal to 30 to 59 seconds. So we'll just get everyone. And so that's 21 visitors on the site. Now it would be nice for me to be able to push these 21 visitors over to Marketo, try to match them up with leads inside of Marketo so that you can use that for a campaign. And so what Parley talked about is totally free. Like you guys can set this up today. You just go into Marketo admin. You guys set up your Adobe organization mapping, which will basically have you log into your Adobe Analytics instance, and then you'll be able to, create just get with your analytics person. You can save a segment like this, and then, on the Marketo side, there we go. I'm still logged in. Great. So on the Marketo side, I've already done it. But yeah, you've got this list over here, the Google Ads visitors. You'll see here, that's the drop down. If you wanted to create a new list and sync it over, then yeah, that audience that we created, the segment we created in analytics, if you click that button, you'll be able to pull that over, and then it'll automatically, just populate a new list for you guys. So that's pretty cool. I think Adobe Analytics has that notion of time spent. It tracks that a little bit better than Marketo does, and you guys can take advantage of that. So, Nate, I'm going to pull up the next use case. I don't know if you want to add anything else on this one though.
Any questions? Anybody? Does this jive with anybody? Okay.
This was live. This is what your client did. Yeah.
So
Or no? Oh,
no, this one is one Sam just. This is one Sam just spun up for this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but most of the most of the companies we work with, but they're doing similar types of things. They're just trying to get high intent.
Yeah.
Some of them have like intent scores. They have like this crazy lead score inside of Adobe Analytics based off of multiple variables.
Yeah.
And they'll push that over as a segment. So
Yeah. So in that example, back to the phone, the chip maker,
Yeah.
they will use this segment and push it over. They call it a high depth visit, right? So it's about the intensity. There's lots of metrics to it, right? So it could be viewed a pricing sheet or some sort of trigger that they want. They automate that into Marketo, right? And then that becomes part of a nurture list. But then they also push that nurture list back into Adobe Analytics. So back to what Parley and Aaron was talking about, even Max, right? Was I want the ability to have a very precise segment that I can market to, and then this team even takes it and pushes it back into Marketo. So it's very cyclical, right? So now you're saying, now your Marketo team's like, whoa, this is really cool. I've got something that's 10 times more precise than it was a few days ago. And now I can really send the exact message that this customer wants. Because after all, isn't that what we're all doing, is working on giving the customer what they want, right? And helping to make that happen.
Taking those 16 users, assuming that there are no leads in Marketo.
In this example.
Matching up their attributes as a lead, and then creating that segment to target.
yeah,
Marketo. Is that basically what you're...
Yeah, that's it. So once you flip the switch, which is that Adobe organization mapping, that's kind of the key. That's what Adobe built to connect the two systems. Like once you flip that switch, then yeah, it'll match whatever visitor ECIDs it can match back to a Marketo lead ID. It can.
Are you able to go back into that and look at those attributes? Right to those attributes for that segment?
Yeah, so the segment definition is still back inside of Adobe Analytics. Like that's not passed anywhere into Marketo. Yeah,
Right.
you got to work together, man. So.
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Any others?
Awesome. So we'll go to our next. Yeah. So these are some of the benefits. I think Nate already hit on these. So we'll hit the next use case is Marketo campaign reporting in Adobe Analytics. Now Max showed some pretty cool reporting interface in Marketo that I haven't seen. But let's show this anyways. These are some things that you can do inside of Adobe that Jen talked about it. I mean, we're really interested in measuring the journey, right? The path of visitors on the website. And so let's take a look at this. Okay, so back inside of Adobe Analytics, the reporting interface is called Analysis Workspace. And this is the tab for Analysis Workspace right here. And so I've got this nicely teed up report for you guys. Here we go, email campaign journey. So some of you may have seen like this type of Sankey, diagram. And this is out of the box inside of Adobe Analytics. It's a flow diagram, and so what you can do is you can create like a starting point of the flow. So if you guys have a campaign pushing everyone to like a certain landing page from your Marketo campaigns, you could have that be like the starting page, and just filter on that. For this one, I just chose a random page on the data join site. I got the email and marketing ops. AA to Marketo page. And then from here, you can see where all the visitors go. So just imagine you guys are pushing out emails. Inside of Marketo, you can see sends, opens, and clicks, and then it kind of stops there. But from here, you can see, from the clicks who actually lands on the page on Adobe, inside of Adobe Analytics, and then you can see where they went next. So here you can see that out of the 14 people who landed on this page, that these are the top 5 paths from this point. So this one right here, you got 3 out of the 14 went to the how it works. So they read about the integration and they're curious. They're probably like all of you. You guys want to know how it works, right? And so that's where 3 of them went. You can keep expanding to next steps. And so this is great for insights. So of the 3 that went to how it works, 2 of them exited, and then 1 of them went to the contact us. So this is a good way to kind of measure the effectiveness. You guys are, as marketers, we're whiteboarding out what we think the journey is going to be. This is how you could actually, measure it. And this is something you don't need any integration. You could just work with your analytics team and say, hey, can you build me this report? Just make the starting page, our landing page. And then let's just go ahead and follow it through. You guys can pick your date range, that you launched the campaign. And so, yeah, that's use case number 2. It's totally free, and you guys don't need to set up anything inside of Marketo for this. Nate, you want to add anything?
Oh, that's great. Does anybody in here work with teams that work with Adobe Target, like personalization and that sort of thing? So the really cool thing is after you're done with this step, you can take that segment and push it to Adobe Target, right? So there's lots of cool, when you think about the idea of what like Parley and Aaron are talking about, which is the better together and using the tools together, this is where it gets really great, because you can go in those marketing meetings and be like, oh yeah, we can get that for you. Oh yeah, we can solve that for you, right? It's really cool.
Yeah, so those are the 2 use cases that we wanted to go in depth, but we've talked about a lot. You can send audiences back and forth. You can send signals back and forth between the 2 systems. You can send attributes back and forth. And then, you could even start sending to other systems as well. But yeah, hopefully that gives you guys an idea of what you can do.
Same question. So, and it sounds like you guys make it very much stricter the process, right? So, you go to this page, so you see this map that you show, right? Where it's the same map where they went to. Based on that behavior of those individuals, you guys create another segment okay, they did this and this, and send this list back to Marketo, to then do another targeting to do something else, right? They follow them on point. And you can like say the Adobe target as well, right? Because all those things can be completely integrated, but with the same rate. You can make it as complicated as you want to, or as simple.
Yeah, exactly. You can knock yourself out if you want, but that's some of the power of what you're able to do. Like inside of Adobe, you can do segments based off of sequence. So you could say, hey, you know, kind of like the flow we just did. Say, hey, give me everyone who did this, and then did this, and then did that. Push that back into Marketo, so you guys can campaign on those groups. So you can knock yourself out.
Question Kevin said before, we were talking about the Adobe to Marketo stuff we passed over. So what data, what can be pushed over? Can you have some field mapping? So in other words, talk about the different flags or statuses, where the case could be. There's some things you can access, you know, some device fields in Marketo. So if you have mapped this to Adobe Analytics, so that stuff goes over that and capture that data, that information. You know, is that kind of what that's what came to mind? I was like, how do I capture some of that information over? Capture for future use sometimes as well.
Yeah, Kevin. I mean, I guess outside of the audience sync, you could pass the attribute straight. Like if you wanted to push the lead status, or for one company we work with, you know, they want to know because they push from Salesforce into Marketo, like their opportunity stage, and including like close lost. And so they want to know everyone who's closed lost, but who's showing signs of life on the site in the last 7 days. And so you could push that attribute, like the opportunity stage name, into Adobe Analytics, create a segment, push that into Target, and then you can start giving them like a different experience, saying, okay, well, these guys were interested once. They look like they're interested again because they're showing signs of life. And so let's activate it. Yep. Okay, and with that, I think we'll turn it back to Parley and Aaron to wrap us up with the roadmap. And then Q&A.
Hey, Sam, we do have a question in the chat if I can bring it up.
Oh, sure.
Awesome.
Sure.
This is from Jeff. He said, I'm sure folks are wondering if they're old GA users like me, is there any way to link that type of flow to those GA offered or connect to the data as well?
Yeah, GA4, they stepped up their game. We're in Adobe, but whatever. Okay. So GA4, you know, they also do sequential segments now. You can do sequence in GA4 as well in their audiences. And so you could technically do the same thing. It doesn't have the nice out of the box flip the switch with the Adobe organization mapping because Adobe Adobe owns Marketo, but you can still do your own ID mapping, and then you'd be able to have the same capabilities. So it's totally possible. You just need a little bit more work than Adobe Analytics.
Cool. Good. Thank you. You help me again?
Yeah.
Try and track what I'm doing here. Slide, let's go to 12. All right. Thanks, Nate and Sam. That was, it's always great when you get to how does it impact us, right? Hear Aaron and me talking about all this kind of semi-fluffy stuff, but then to see it actually being put into action, that's where it's good. So thank you both. I have an exciting part here. I like technology. Obviously, I think a lot of it might be a common theme in here. And I do. I like seeing the new things that are coming out. And there's some great stuff that, you gonna do that for me? Great stuff within Marketo that's coming. And some of it's already been launched. Let's go back one. I'll just keep talking here for a second. But Marketo is like a lot of the other solutions within the Adobe suite, the tech stack, that has been purchased for a purpose, right? And it's all part of, sometimes we're kind of like wondering, why did they've done that? And we realize the executives know what they're doing, and they've got this integrated really nicely. We just talked about some of that, and Target was even mentioned about how that can play into all these other solutions. Marketo's the same thing. It was acquired in 2018, I believe. So we've had it for quite a while, and there's been quite a bit of enhancement that's occurred over that time. And in fact, let's go to that slide. And you can see some of it. starting back in 2018, some of the smart campaigns, things that now are just common knowledge. We use them all the time, but they're enhancements for the roadmap that at that time were a big deal. You look at performance tiers and now interactive webinars. These are all things that have been brought in to Marketo. Like I said, in 2014, it's no different. Let's go to the next slide, Aaron. And I picked out two main things that we've heard for 2024. And they are customer requested enhancements, which is always great to hear. And I'd be disappointed not to see that every year to make sure that that's part of it. And it is, and it's very important. And it reflects the feedback that they get through groups like this and other groups like our champions and other symposiums and so forth. So thank you and keep it coming. And our teams listen, right? And they bring in these new features and capabilities. And the other one is the part that I kind of get into is the AI stuff. And I think we're all pretty familiar with what's going on there. And Adobe has woven in AI throughout all of our solutions. And we're excited about that. And Marketo is no different. It's in there, and it's going to continue to be a huge emphasis. And we're not behind the 8 ball here on this. So let's go to the next slide, and I'll show you just a couple of examples. We'll actually show you one each, just to whet your appetite. And you can look into more of this information about what's coming later, when you have a few more minutes. But this is just one right here. This is the, it says here, target, target, what does that say? Interested leads, thank you, that missed the webinar and are potential converts through on-demand webinar recordings. Sorry about that. This is one that I'm really excited about. I think some of you are already using this one. It's been partially launched. This is what's cool in that if somebody does not attend a webinar, you've paid a lot of money, you want them to come, they haven't attended, and there's no value, you can still target them. And now you can identify who they are, what they missed, and go back to them and help them perhaps have an additional reason to be engaged, to find out what the webinar was all about and why they missed out. That's a capability that's being amplified and continues to grow within Marketo, the webinar piece. All right, that's a good example of one. And then the analytics piece here. This is generating email content. And I think this is one of the ways that we're all really familiar with AI is we dabble, with Chat GPT, and we have it write some kind of an amazing talk or a presentation. We're surprised by it. It's pretty cool with Marketo. Now you can have Marketo assist, AI assist, do a lot of the body of the emails, and it's amazing stuff. It's being built in now that you don't have to worry about perhaps how do I get started with this? What's the right language I should use to entice or get somebody excited to actually read this email and act on it. So it's just an example of Adobe is integrating all of this into the ability, to enhance those emails that go out and our deliverability. It's pretty obvious what the benefit is. As they open it, first of all, they're going to open it now because it's targeted better and it's more enticing. And then are they going to act on it more because AI has helped you make a more fulfilling promise within that email? What are you going to get out of it? So those are pretty cool. Now let's go to the next one. And the next one is just a teaser. These are the ones we didn't have time to talk about. There's a bunch of them, and even more. This is the roadmap basically for Marketo. We are about a third of the way through the year, and I'm pleased to say many of these things are already integrated. Many of you probably know that and have seen them. Some others will be coming. All right, any questions on that? I think that's it. Yeah.
The Firefly component.
Oh yeah, I didn't talk about that.
With emails, within emails, is that going to be native to Marketo, or do you have to have AEM integrated?
I think it's native. I'll have to look and make sure, but I know they're building that, so at least down the road.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know for sure right now, but I believe the plan is you'll be able to bring that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you've dabbled with Firefly yet.
So So like we can generate the image.
Yes.
And
Can you pull that back up?
that asset. That's
Yeah.
Live and experience manager. They can live within Marketo.
Yep. So it's part of that whole integration where you're not going to an outside source, or sorry, if you have an illustrator, but you've got this assistant now where you can go and tell it what you need, and it can start to grab that information or that image and bring it right in. Pretty powerful. And then the body, the text with it. And then you can turn those emails out even quicker and be a lot more targeted to them. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention that's one of the cool things.
Does it mean, am I reading this right, saying that you have to have 80 AEMs for this one?
That's what was just mentioned. I don't know for sure. I don't know, Max, you know? I don't know for sure if you need to have that. At some point, is that what it says there?
It's what leads me to believe up there. Yeah.
You would
Yeah.
need a asset manager.
To be able to build that and, okay, that makes sense.
Okay. All right.
My
So-
question
I think
on
so,
that is, what about Gen Studio? Could you leverage Gen Studio and do the same?
Wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But that would make 100, that'd make a complete sense.
But if you do.
And I know they're trying to make that and make it so it's more seamless.
Yeah.
I don't know what the roadmap down the road looks like. Let's watch that. They're going to try and make it easier and easier, but yeah,
Very cool. I mean, that's still cool. Just
Yeah.
Let them lost.
yeah, good question. Thank you. All right, Aaron, you want to?
Yeah, and then to just end, we've got some resources here for you guys. Starting with the Marketo Adobe Analytics integration. We've got some Experience League, both analytics and Marketo and a audience manager. And then we have other resources, which include Adobe Exchange list of third-party integrations for Marketo, Developers Hub for extensive API documentation, Experience League Munchkin code implementation, and how leads become known and tracking leads, Munchkin for developers. Any questions?
Now we can dive in even deeper. Fire the questions at us. This has been fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Trent, I think we're about ready to wrap it up. It's been a little bit of a long one today, but I think it's been good. There's been a lot of good content. Just before we wrap it up and go play a game of pool downstairs, does anyone have any questions at all for anyone? We had Jen from the very beginning and Max. Questions for anyone before we, Cameron?
Yeah, I mean, Jen mentioned data quality and Adobe Target was brought up. Obviously, Target and analytics can both be implemented through Web SDK. Marketo still has separate measurement library and standards. I'd love to hear the Adobe perspective on what is the right way to be thinking about best practices around implementing those different measurement technologies, using those in conjunction with the TMS like Launch or TB or anything else. And should we be thinking about lining up variables according to the data layer to make sure all of those things are talking in the same language? Or is it okay to have two completely different teams responsible for those different measurement and tag setups?
You wanted a tough question, Parley. There you go. So, yeah. Any, what's that? Jen, you have any thoughts on that, Jen?
I think I heard most of the question. Now, I will be transparent. We don't have Target and we don't have Marketo, but we do have other systems. And honestly, from my perspective, I like everything to kind of line up. Now, I am absolutely have data wherever and in whatever system you can have, in whatever format you can have. Because if you can cross collaborate that data and kind of back it up and go, yep, we're seeing the same thing over here, that's stronger. It means that what you've collected is pretty close to accurate. It's one of the reasons, and I'm expecting booze on this one, why we have the free version of Google Analytics on our website, as well as Adobe. And we also, thank you. And we also have Parsley Analytics. Now, they're all kind of come out slightly different because they're different systems, but I like to look at all three in conjunction with one another and go, is everything going up? Is everything going down? Are the same sort of pages being hit? Is the same sort of this being hit? So again, it's kind of similar. It's completely different data being stored in different systems, but they sort of back themselves up and kind of create a confidence in what you actually are reporting on. Because if somebody looks at the numbers and goes, I don't believe these numbers, you go into the other system and you go, well, it's backed up here, it's backed up there, it all lines up. And again, I would say absolutely, even if Marketo is in a different format, keep tracking there. But from an analytics perspective, I'd be working with that team and going, okay, how can we get as much information into Adobe as possible? How can we get more information from Target into Adobe beyond just like the native connectivity? Again, that goes back to my whole Gary and his bowl full of food. I like lots of data so that I can break it down, I can correlate it, and I can prove that what is happening is happening. And when stuff goes wrong, I've got more information to help support our development team to go why something is broken. So that's kind of my thoughts.
Thanks, Jen. That's good. Max, do you have any?
Yeah, I completely agree with Jen. We've been able to use it as a checks and balances before. Data's often one way, and we see the discrepancy happening in another system. And so it is beneficial to have them separate. We use Launch to activate all of ours, and they are all bundled, which is fantastic. And it means our production times are a lot quicker. That being said, if you are doing implementation, I would consult with both of those teams, preferably in the same room together, give them some boxing gloves if you need to, but the more they work in siloed environments, the more they will deviate. Just like evolution happens, like they're going to go off and do their own things. So if you can start with an organized structure in the beginning, you won't have form detail 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. That doesn't mean anything over in analytics, but it's still passing that data. And you're right, well, we have this data, but we don't know what it's being used for. So if you could start with defining your intentions and getting that data dictionary from the get-go, it's going to make your lives 5 years so much easier.
Jeff?
Yeah, especially migrating to AEP and trying to get real good data models right at pace so that the other tools can merge their data. That's slowed our implementation way down. So you have to go back and define what the SDRs meant, what Marketo's doing, what Telium is doing, and other systems we purchased. They all come. So it all is coming right back to what are we going to call this data in common, regardless. So,
No, it's yeah. I was just thinking of Omnibug, and when you just see what's launching on the page, and you got a page view firing from Google Analytics, from Adobe Analytics, from Marketo, but yeah, no, I think with AEP it's an opportunity to consolidate. But the only thing I see so far in common is the Adobe organization mapping, where they added it to the Munchkin code where they can grab the ECID. So, any other questions?
It looks like we have one online with the hand raised. And Depreet, if you want to come off mute.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, thank you so much. Very good afternoon to all. My question is more related to reporting, actually. The thing is, in my organization, so I have a question like, how does Adobe Analytics track the users? As like in GA4, it captures users' client ID in the cookies, where we know that this is a unique user. But if he's logging into some other browser, then it will count as another user, even if it is the same user. So I have a question. What would be the best practice to know the accurate data for the users? And also the second question is about the cross devicing actually. For example, if we just have one user who's logging into a web application from a laptop, and then again, the same user is logging from its own mobile. So technically, it is only one user, but how the Adobe is tackling those situations? Adobe Analytics.
Anyone want to answer that, Jen, or anyone in the room?
So there's a couple ways you can do it. Firstly, it comes down to your marketing strategy of how you're sending traffic to the website. Obviously, if you're sending it via email, we have that known information, and so that can be picked up. If you are gating any of your content as well, using form information to have somebody reveal cross-browser, that will help. So consider progressive profiling if you need to add multiple forms. But then you can use audience stitching to develop a cross-browser profile for the user that way.
Yes, audience stitching. Would anyone else add anything else?
Yeah, I was going to also mention like the audience stitching, which is mostly available in CJA. I believe you might be able to get audience stitching if you're up on like Ultimate Adobe Analytics. I'm not sure that may have changed in the last few years, but the audience stitching can actually bring people together into your workspace as the new people metric, as opposed to the unique visitor metric, which honestly, unique visitor is kind of like a badly named metric that is historically, brought forward from the old days when everyone just really had one device. But you are right, like cookies being stored on individual browsers, in mobile apps differently from the device, or like from the browser that's on the mobile device. Those are always going to be challenges, which is why you have to have some sort of kind of device stitching. Now, the more information you know about a person, such as if they're logging in, that can go into those kind of like device graphs to sort of say, well, this person is known, they're logging in, we have an internal ID. Now you can actually stitch that person based on an internal ID because they're a known user based on a user account. And similarly, probably with Marketo, if you know the user's email address, in theory, you should be able to stitch a whole bunch of information together with your known users to bring that in. Now, I always sort of advocate for don't store email addresses in your analytics data because it's PII, but every organization is going to have a different thought process on that. But if you have, if you're taking your data out into a data lake,
raise their hand.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, but if you're taking your data out into a data lake, of course, you should be able to go into your backend system, get those email addresses, go into your Marketo data, get those email addresses, go into your Adobe Analytics, get user identifications and stitch those together in a much more cohesive way. Obviously, device graphing within Adobe is great. Sometimes you have to maybe take it out a little bit further and do a little bit more work. But yes, trying to identify the same users as people is always going to be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, I think AEP is going to make that a lot easier than in Adobe Analytics, and probably easier than Google Analytics for sure, because you can manipulate that data a little bit easier in AEP. So that's a good question, Inderpreet. Okay, I think that's good. That's all for today. Thank you all for coming out. So appreciate it. Let's give a round of applause to everybody. Oh, Sven?
I want to know who wants to take a tour. So he's going to be our tour guide. So take 15 minutes if anybody wants to look around. If you don't, that's fine. But I'm happy to let you look around and see the building.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Parley. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going. Yeah.
I'm in.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Chase.
Yep. Have a good tour, y'all. Thanks for joining online too. Bye.